I'm Eric Hayden with the National Weather Service in Binghamton, New York, joined with Dave Morford. He is also a forecaster here in Binghamton. He's not here today, and that's because Dave is an IMET, an incident meteorologist. Those folks typically are deployed to wildfires to help with those types of disasters, but they can also help out with other types of disasters. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit more what an IMET is and what you do to support the fire, and tell us where you are. You're certainly not here in Binghamton.
No. Right now I'm sitting in Clayton, Georgia, a nice little town in the extreme northeastern part of the state of Georgia. I'm about 3 or 4 miles from the fire itself, which is burning up in the wilderness. And there's some pretty high mountains. The elevations get up to over 5,000 feet as we get into North Carolina. But I'm here at the Incident Command Post, and this is where I sit and work with the FBAN, which is the Fire Behavior Analyst, and I give him specific weather forecasts for the fire so he can make predictions on what the fire is going to do, where it's going to burn, how it's going to react. And they need that information so not only can they contain the fire and work with the fire, but also protect all the people, the firemen that are out there working the line. It's extremely important for them to know what the fire is going to do for safety reasons.
Definitely. Now, you can put in some pretty long days. What's a typical day for you in terms of hours you put in and things of that nature?
Well, yes, they are very long days. My typical day, I get up at about 5:15.
Wow.
I'm at my desk here about 5:30, quarter to 6 at the latest, and I start my day. And first thing I do is brief myself on the situation, what the fire did overnight, what the current weather conditions are, and I prepare for a briefing. My first briefing of the day is at 7 in the morning. And most, if not all, of the firefighters, the support personnel, administrative staff gather, oftentimes hundreds of people, and they're waiting for me to tell them what the weather's going to be that day, and so they can go out and be safe on the fire. The rest of my day is forecasting, meetings, and typically I wrap up at about somewhere between 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So it's a long day, and I do it every day.
Wow. Now, with days that long, obviously you need to sleep. Your accommodations here are a little bit better than some of the fires you've been on out west. Typically, on a normal fire, where do you sleep? You know, you have such a small window. Where do you get your rest?
Well, yes, it is a small window, so it's important to be close to wherever you're sleeping because you don't want to waste time. Typically in fire camp, they will provide you with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's usually within walking distance of wherever I'm working. And then I walk another 100 yards in another direction, and I have a tent set up. And I sleep in my tent every night. So it's a kind of a rugged existence, and you're in a camp. But believe it or not, I sleep very well on the ground because I'm so tired. This particular fire, I have a hotel, which is really, really nice. So I can shower when I want to. I can get back to my room and maybe watch a little football before I fall asleep. So it's nice. But that's unusual. This is the first time I've had a hotel room at a fire.
Wow. So long days, usually sleeping on the ground in a tent. Other than that, what is one of the harder aspects that you can think of being an IMET? Because this is not your first fire. You've been on many fires before.
Right. Well, one of the hardest things I think is there's direct feedback at this type of situation. You give your forecast to people who are out there working on this fire, and the hardest thing is to make sure and double check, triple check. You don't want to make any mistakes because you make a mistake and you're affecting the people that you're literally working right next to. So the hardest aspect is it really maintaining your concentration and making sure that the forecast is correct because your forecast, the firefighters and the support people are depending on you. And so it makes concentration, and that's very tiring, especially if the weather gets active during the fire. So that's probably the hardest aspect.
You mentioned that as we were talking before we did this interview, the tiring aspect, those long days, and then providing that direct support, and you get that constant feedback. We really appreciate you joining us. We hope you have a safe time down in Georgia. You've probably been checking back to the weather. You missed our big snow here in Binghamton, but
I did.
Just in time for your arrival, we've melted most of the snow. So hopefully you have a safe trip back.
Good. Thank you. I hope I look forward to coming back and getting back in the routine.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dave.
You're welcome.